This is my book club live reading that I'm getting ready to start doing. And we're reading The Child I Left Behind by Anjalia Mc Goldrick. And we're 3/4 of the way into the book, and it's going pretty good. If you could let me know if you can hear me just fine, I would appreciate that. Thank you for joining or stopping by. Appreciate it. Thank you, TikTok. TikTok says, we're notifying viewers that you're live. That's cool. Keep going. We're letting more viewers know you're live. I'm alive and I'm here. Here's a sneak peek into me living. Anybody else out there? All right. It's still early. It's 8 a.m. where I'm at. This is the book we're reading right now. Very inspirational. I drew strength from this book. I drew knowledge and inspiration from this book. It is based on true events. It's a true story. It's a memoir of this woman's life. So she's been so gracious and kind to put her stories in one book for us to read it and gain strength and insights to whatever we may have going on in our lives, just to get a better understanding that other people out there go through it and find a way out of whatever mess you may be in, whatever predicament you may find yourself in. There's usually a way out. Just gotta find it. And then she did. She found her way out. And then she had to find her way out more than once, which is fine. That's life. The longer you live, the more way outs you'll know. And that's why elderly advice is golden, because they're not saying these things for no reason. They're elders for a reason. They got through what they got through. And when an elder speaks, I listen because they have experience. I do consider myself an elder too, so there's that. All right. I'm guessing everybody can hear me because I have my new mic. See my little mic here? I have it. I did it. TikTok made me do it. Just kidding. I needed better audio. My audio stuff was not working. Okay, we're going to begin with chapter 21, where we left off. We left off on chapter 20, and we're 10 chapters away from completing this book. We're almost done. Okay, chapter 21. In 1989, nearly a decade earlier, when I returned to Michigan from California, I contacted Charlie's mom, Dottie. I learned that Leah was only living with her grandparents now, and they had left Detroit and moved to Hazard, Kentucky, not far from Harlan, back to the coal fields from where my family and Charlie's family came. I asked them if I could come visit and pick her up for the weekend. They agreed to let me come, but told me I only visit her at their home. It had been nearly 3 years since I saw her, so I understood and agreed. I couldn't wait to see her. I brought her some gifts and spent most of the day in her bedroom playing Barbie dolls, coloring, laughing, and having a great time. She told me about school and riding her bike and playing in the creek. I told her how much I loved her and missed her, and I hoped we could come visit again soon. Not long after this, her dad married his new girlfriend, Molly, and Leah came back to the Detroit area to live with them. I hired an attorney and reestablished visitations. We had such a great time together on our visits, but every time she returned home, they would interrogate her and then call and accuse me of not feeding her or on some other crazy accusation that wasn't true. Several times during my visits with Leah, Charlie would call me 5 minutes before I was leaving my house to bring her back, causing me to be late getting her home. Then I would arrive. He'd jump all over me for bringing her back late. I told him I was late because he called and kept me on the phone. There was no reasoning with him at all. During the conversation, he threatened to blow my house up with a Molotov cocktail or destroy my life in some way. Eventually, it took a toll on both me and Leah and my marriage. Oh, you can't hear me? See, I knew it. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you, Daisy. Just take it off. Okay, hopefully that'll be better. I need to figure out how to set that up. Thank you so much. Where was I? Okay, so that's not working. Maybe I didn't have it on right. I'm going to try it again because... Oh, it's green now. Maybe you can hear me now. Can you hear me with this now? Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Okay. One night, not long after our visit, at 7 years old, Leah called. Hi, honey, how are you? I'm calling because I don't want to see you anymore. Oh my goodness, why, Leah? Is something wrong? Are you sure? We have such good time together when we're together. Yes, I am sure. I want Molly to be my mommy. Oh, really? Did something happen? No, I just don't have a good time when I'm with you, and I don't want to see you anymore. I have to go now. Okay, honey, I love you. Bye. She hung up the phone. I was stunned and began to cry. I couldn't understand any of this. It just didn't make any sense, but I didn't know what to do. I just knew in my heart Charlie and Molly had made Leah call and say those things. It broke my heart. They made things so difficult with so much drama and chaos. I just hated putting her through all the craziness and tearing our emotions apart and keeping us both so upset. Tom was also becoming intolerant of Charlie and was ready to take things into his own hands. I knew that wasn't going to work out well for anyone. I was so exhausted of all the turmoil. I felt like I was the only one trying to make this work. It was exhausting. I knew Charlie was never going to let me see Leah in peace, and it wasn't fair or healthy for either one of us. I finally decided to give up my legal rights and hope that when Leah was older, we would find each other again. It was another gut wrenching decision, and it was like losing her all over again. A few years later, when I was a sophomore in college and still living in Michigan, I came home to find a message from Molly on my answering machine. Hi, Angel. We are having trouble with Leah, and we talked to a counselor, and she thought it would be helpful if you got back into her life. If you wouldn't mind, could you please give me a call? I was shocked. I told Tom, that doesn't even sound like Molly. Maybe her and Charlie have grown up and matured. I wouldn't count on it, he replied. I called her. Hi, Molly. This is Angel. I got your message. Is everything okay? Hey, thanks for calling me back. Well, I'm pregnant again, and this time it's a boy, and you know Charlie has always wanted a boy. Since finding out about this, Leah has started acting out, and we thought it would be helpful if she started seeing you again. Really? How would that work? Well, we thought we could start with some supervised visits here at the house. And if everything goes well, maybe eventually she could come with you and have some visits. Okay, I would love to see her. I was thrilled. I couldn't believe it. We arranged a supervised visit with Leah in her bedroom at her home later that week. We had a great time. She told me about school, her friends, and all she had been up to. I told Leah I was sorry things didn't work out before, and I'd hoped things could be better this time. She asked me why I left her when she was only 3. Leah, I love you so much, and we were really close, but things were very difficult back then. I did the best that I could to work with your dad, and it just didn't work out. I was very young and didn't have any support, and I felt you would be better off staying with your grandmother at the time. I really am sorry that I hurt you. It wasn't because I didn't love you. I have always loved you. She came and wrapped her arms around me and hugged me so tight my heart melted with the warmth of her love. She came and wrapped her arms around me and hugged me so tight. Leah and I had our visits at her house several times, and we had a wonderful time together. They eventually let her come out to my house when I took her home. They started yelling and said I was late. I looked at the clock and it was 2 minutes past the time I said I was going to have her back. I apologized and tried to explain what we had started on our way and realized Leah had forgotten an item, and I went back and got it. I didn't think we would be late, but it's only 2 minutes. Of course, it was a huge scene. They didn't let me see her again. Then one night, 1 month later, Charlie and Molly got into a huge fight and the phone was torn off the wall. They sent Leah to call me from Papa Chuck's, who lived next door. Mom, this is Leah. Mommy and Daddy are fighting, and they asked me to come call you to come get me. Can you come quickly, please? I immediately left and drove 30 minutes to get her. I went up to the door and picked her up and could see her through the door, the chaos of the scattered objects, rearranged furniture, broken dishes, and Leah standing helplessly looking at me, defenseless. Molly came to the door. Everything is better. She has school tomorrow. We don't need you to take her now. Well, I drove all the way here. If you want to let her go with me, I would be happy to take her to school tomorrow. No, she's not going anywhere. Thanks for coming down, but she's not going. I looked over at Leah and her eyes were filled with disappointment, and I turned away and walked away feeling helpless. The next day, they called and told me I could see her again, but I needed to start paying them child support of $35 a week. I said that's no problem. I couldn't wait to see her. I pulled up and she ran and got in the car. Hurry, let's leave, Mom, before they change their mind. I pulled away quickly and turned on the radio. We laughed and played her favorite music loud as we drove to my house. But every week it was hell. Always games. She did everything they asked, but if one thing wasn't perfect, they would get her hopes built up, and at the last minute, they would tell her she couldn't come visit because of some minor thing. Like she forgot to dust the top of the television or missed the spot on the dishes when she washed them. She couldn't win. It was heart wrenching. One time I came to get her and they sent her out and told me they wanted more money. I was going to confront them and tell them this was ridiculous. But each week there was a new rule. Please, Mom, she begged. Just please give them the money so I can go with you. I smiled at her sweet face and conceded. I felt horrible for her to be there and try to talk to her counselor, but no one would listen to me. I was the absent mother who had no rights. No one. On one of her visits, I returned to her home. I gave Leah my home phone number and Tom's toll free work number and told her to keep it safe in case she ever needed it. Not long after this, Leah was scheduled to come for a visit, and Molly called. Angel, my car broke down and I need money to buy a new used car. If you want to keep seeing Leah, I need you to send me money for the car. It's crazy. It's like blackmail or some shit. Molly, I am sick and tired of this shit every week. You're fucking crazy. If you think I'm going to buy you a car to continue to manipulate and treat it this way week after week, this is insane. This is awful what you're putting me and Leah through. Do you even understand all this craziness and chaos is affecting her? Don't you care how this is hurting Leah? You don't know anything about how Leah is. You left her and she doesn't want to see you anymore. I was trying to work with you, but I should have listened to Charlie, and he's right about you. You are nothing but trouble. Molly, I have done everything you and Charlie have asked me, but every week you change the rules. Now I have to buy you a car? What the hell? This is crazy. Please come to your senses and see how wrong this is. I'm not going to let you turn all this back around me, Angel. Leah doesn't like coming to see you and complains every time she comes back from a visit with you. We're done with you. You can't see Leah anymore. Fine. I am done dealing with all this craziness. Leah isn't going to be little forever. I slammed the phone down. I was devastated. Over the past 2 years, Leah would sneak and call us when she could, and I hoped that someday we would get to see each other again. In the spring of 1996, I was about to graduate from 4 long years of college, and 7 long years of working 2 and sometimes 3 jobs, focusing on building financial security and success in my life so we could have a better future. It was the final weeks of my senior year of college at the University of Michigan, and I was studying to take a board exam for my dental hygiene license. Tom and I had moved into our dream home that we had built in Saline, just a few miles from the university, 6 months earlier, and life was finally settling down after nearly a decade of hard work. Then one night, after a long night of studying, the phone rang and it was Leah. Hi, Mom. Hi, I haven't heard from you in a long time. How are you, Leah? Well, a couple of weeks ago, Molly got mad and started hitting me and kicking me with her boot in the shins. Usually, she would keep me home until my bruises or scabs would heal, but she was so mad she sent me to school. I told Tiffany, my best friend, about it, and she told me to tell Miss Cooper. I was so afraid because I knew Daddy would be mad, but I was so scared she would really hurt me this time. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. What happened? When I got to the school and told Miss Cooper what happened and showed her my legs and bruises, she called the police right away. She told me she knew for a long time something bad was going on, but she didn't have any evidence to turn in a report. She told me it broke her heart every time I was excited to go on a field trip and Molly would cancel it and not let me go. She said she tried to find a way to report her and did a couple of times but never heard anything. I told her I always lied when the social workers came to talk to me at the house. She told me I must be honest with the police, Mom. I was so scared this time. I knew I had to tell them, even though I knew Daddy would be so mad at me. I was afraid I might not get another chance to get out. Tears welled up in my eyes. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Well, where are they now? I am in a family foster care with Daddy's brother, Uncle Randy, and his wife, Aunt Alice. I thought about telling them I wanted to come stay with you, but I was afraid Daddy would be mad. But he hasn't been coming to see me, so I don't care if he's mad. It's okay, honey. I'm so glad you are safe. I would like to see you. Aunt Alice said you can come over and visit if you wanted to. Okay, I'll call her and set something up. I love you so much, and I'm so sorry I have been through all this, or that you have been through all this. I love you too, Mom. I hope I get to see you soon. You will, I promise, as soon as possible. I hung up the phone and bawled. Later, in another conversation, I found out the full truth of what was really happening to Leah. Leah told me when she first came back from Kentucky to live with her dad, Molly was good to her and she loved her. But after Molly had her first child, Brooke, Leah told me Molly started mistreating her and it got worse over the years. Leah described times where she was often put in situations that left her with no options. For hours, both Molly and her dad would hold her captive, asking her questions that would never agree were correct. Leah said Molly often promised her she'd be allowed to attend school events right up until the event was about to happen. And then Molly would create chaos and tell Leah she couldn't go. She got angry at Leah over small little things and then would punish her. On one occasion, Leah told me she did something to Molly that she didn't approve of, and she grounded her to her bed and squirted mustard all over her, knowing how much Leah hated mustard and wouldn't let her out to clean it up. Later, after two brothers were born, Molly put Leah in a psychiatric hospital and accusing her of trying to harm the kids. But they released her after a week because they couldn't find any evidence. Leah said she did everything she could do to make her parents happy. Unfortunately, she was in a world where she could never win. She finally realized at 13 that leaving was her only option. I hired an attorney to begin work on getting Leah placed in our home. It took a little time, but by the summer, when school ended, I was granted guardianship and she finally came to live with us in Saline. That summer was a honeymoon period and things went well. I wanted to give Leah everything she ever had, that she never had. I took her to the mall and let her buy new clothes, took her out to eat at nice restaurants. We went shopping and got new bedding for her room, and I spoiled her with material things. Life was busy for me and Tom. I had just graduated from dental hygiene school and had just started a new job. Tom was still working full time as a purchasing manager at the office supply distributor, and we were both still cleaning 5 buildings a night, which took 6 hours for us both to clean. So there was little time to spend with Leah. but like most working families, we did the best that we could. We took her with us and she helped us clean some nights. Other nights, she stayed with her Aunt Alice and Uncle Randy, but eventually, as she met some friends in the neighborhood, she chose to stay home and hang out with them until we finished our cleaning. On weekends, we took her bowling or out to dinner and tried to do something together as a family. Things seemed to be going well, and we were all adjusting to our new life. By fall, Tom decided to quit his job and take over the cleaning business. This way, he could work full time with the business, and I could work on my dental hygiene job and be home with Leah in the evenings. As the new school year began, Leah seemed excited about this new beginning. When she lived with Charlie and Molly, she was isolated and wasn't allowed out of the house and was very sheltered. She wasn't allowed to make any friends or decisions for herself. She wasn't allowed to go visit friends, and she was ruled with a tight fist. Living with Tom and me was a whole new world, and she was nervous. I encouraged her and bought her things to help her fit in. I wanted to give her the best chance at success. We were excited she had met a new friends over the summer. When school started before long, she had met several more new friends. Finally, after all these years of heartache, things were turning around. At least I thought so. As the fall semesters continued, things came up and I saw Leah was struggling. I knew she was a teenager trying to find her way, while at the same time being plunged into a new family and lifestyle that was completely foreign to her. She had lost her entire family when she was put in foster care because her dad wasn't willing to come see her and let her see her siblings. I thought back when my parents divorced and I lost my whole family when I didn't get to see my dad and siblings. I remembered and felt the sadness of those times, and it broke my heart. I begged him to stay in her life and have visitation with her, but I think it caused trouble for Molly. He told me I raised her the first part of her life, and I'm backing away to let you raise her for the rest of her life. He gave up his parental rights and walked away. Coming to Celine was an adjustment for Leah. It was a difficult time of transition, and we didn't get the support we needed to clearly understand her needs. Other than the visits over the years, which were few and far between, we really didn't have time to get to know each other well. And often during those visits, we were in crisis mode, trying to keep things calm so we didn't have much time to work on our relationship. When Leah came to visit with us at each transitional time, for all of us, it was tough. I had left her when she was 3 years old, and now she's 13. She was not the same sweet child I dropped off back then, or the sweet 7, 9-year-old I would visit. She was angry and struggling. I learned what I had suspected. She had been subjected to the demonization of me by her dad and her parental grandparents from the time I left her at age 3. She told me she was spanked or ridiculed if she had any behaviors like me. She told me she was shamed for being left handed like me, and they spanked her hand to try to get her to be right handed. What she described sounded as though they made her feel bad if she showed love or interest in anything that had to do with me, even the gifts I sent her. She'd learned through her actions and words to love me meant punishment. These ingrained subconscious obstacles were difficult to overcome, and for the first year, I wasn't even aware of the effect it had on her because she hid it very well, trying to fit in. The first time I noticed it, I had taken her to my mom's church for an event. We were sitting in the pew, and I looked at her and smiled, and she looked down and saw we were both sitting with our legs and arms in the exact same position. She shuffled her entire body around and contorted and repositioned herself so she wouldn't be like me. I began to notice more often of her disapproval of herself if she reacted or behaved like me, and her disdain toward me grew more evident with time. As time went on, I pushed Leah out of the comfort zone and introduced her to things that she had never experienced before. She had never been on a vacation in her life other than to see family. During the first fall we were together, we took a mother-daughter trip to Florida, to Disney World and Universal Studios during Halloween week, her favorite time of the year. In the summer, I made her volunteer as a caddy striper at the local hospital to give her some work experience so she could think about careers as she was moving toward high school. She hated it and let me know she would never be a nurse. I laughed with her and told her I understood, but I was glad she had the experience. I sent her with her close friend to summer camp for 3 weeks. She called immediately and wanted to come home. The camp counselor adamantly told me not to come get her. She said this happens with kids every year, but once she gets acclimated, she'll enjoy it. 1 week later, I received a letter in the mail telling me how much she loved it and was so glad that she stayed. I was so happy for her. Even with good times, the first year was difficult for all of us. Tom and I had been a team, working together for 7 years, building our business, getting through college, and creating our dreams. This was a huge shift that changed a lot in our lives. We started struggling in our relationship and were silently going through our own marital difficulties. We almost separated the first year after Leah came to live with us, and eventually we did separate for a while a few years later. Tom loved Leah, but struggled with the turmoil of having a teenage child we didn't raise in our home. This situation was especially challenging because her values and standards were different from ours, and it felt like no one in the house was happy. Tom is a beautiful, loving, kind, funny, amazing man who loves to watch sports, drink beer, and relax. He is a no nonsense, laid back, patient person, but with little tolerance for drama or bullshit. He doesn't talk a lot, but his actions speak volumes, and when he does speak, people listen. Leah respected him, but they rarely interacted. He was gone a lot, and he cleaned the buildings at night and slept most of the day. I imagined this was his way to escape. I knew our living situation wasn't going to be all roses and butterflies, but I had no idea the challenges that laid ahead. Tom and I made a ton of mistakes with Leah. We controlled things and poked our nose into things we shouldn't have, kept her from being friends with kids we felt were trying to take her down the wrong path in life, made rules that a kid in her situation didn't need. I was hard on her with her schoolwork, and it took a detrimental toll on our relationship, and she resented me. I was just trying to guide her in a positive direction without recognizing her needs or what resonated with her. I knew my path was successful and I wanted her to follow it. I had a lot of shadows around living in poverty and lack. I wanted to escape poverty and the hell it brought me and all it cost, and believed that she would want a better, more successful life too. I imagine looking back, she never felt accepted or as if she fit in with me or Tom. Our lifestyle and means were far beyond anything she had ever imagined, and it was uncomfortable for her. I believe she also felt things, and money were more important to us than her. Over time, she began passive aggressive until she became more aggressive. I knew something was wrong. I tried to talk to her, but she wouldn't talk much. I looked at her. I took her to counseling every week, but things just got worse. I tried to talk to the counselor and ask for help, but I didn't really get any advice or support. I tried to do my best, I knew, but I didn't know what I was up against and how to help. I had no idea what it meant to be a mother, especially to a teenager I didn't raise, or one who was raised with completely different values from mine and who was raised to believe I was a terrible person. I wanted her to join the cheerleading team and do gymnastics and be involved in something at school. I wanted her to hang out with the popular crowd and aim for good grades and become an achiever because I knew that would give her the best life possible. I knew she was smart and I saw so much potential in her and was frustrated she didn't care about things that I thought were important for her. Social services was involved, but the counselor mostly sided with us and told Leah she needed to do her schoolwork and follow our rules. I was living in a fantasy world, but I didn't know it. I thought if she had everything she ever wanted, she would thrive. In my mind, subconsciously, I thought I could be a fairy godmother and come in and wave a magic wand and everything in her for her and make everything okay. Life is not that easy. I wish we could just wave a magic wand and poof, alakazoo, beepity boppity boop. Everything is okay now. Everything's gonna be fine. I wish. I wish. We have to make things fine. We have to do our best to accept what is and keep moving forward the best way we know how. And sometimes we don't even know how, right? Like she didn't know what to do. Sometimes I don't know what to do in situations, but I make a way and here I am. All right. We're on chapter 22. The Child I Left Behind, a memoir by Anjalia Mc Goldrick. In the fall of 1997, Leah started high school at Saline High. She had a best friend named Ashlyn, who she spent a lot of time with. She had many friends at school and enjoyed hanging out with them at the mall, going to movies, and having sleepovers on the weekends. I thought things were going well, and Leah was finally adjusting to her new life. In October, I encouraged her to get a part time job, and she agreed. She applied at Myers, the local grocery store, and got a job. On her first day of work, I encouraged her to wear a pair of black pants so she would look professional, and she insisted she was going to wear her torn jeans. We argued over the pants, and she insisted on wearing her jeans. I took her to work and told her I would pick her up at 5 p.m. when she was scheduled to get off. Tom and I went shopping and had lunch, then went back to pick her up at 5. When I arrived, I waited outside for 20 minutes, but she never came out. I went into the store and asked for her, and they said she had left. I was confused and wasn't sure what was going on. I went home and found a voicemail from her saying she was at Ashley's house. When I got to Ashlyn's to pick her up, Ashlyn's dad told me she didn't want to come home. He seemed to have an attitude toward me, and it felt judgmental. The door opened, and Ashlyn's mom came out and joined the conversation, said Leah is really upset, and perhaps it would help if she just spent the night here. Okay, do you know why she's upset? Maybe she can tell you. Can I speak to Leah, please? Yes, of course. She's in Ashlyn's room. Let me show you the way. I went inside and knocked on Ashlyn's door, and Leah opened the door and said, "What do you want?" "I heard you were upset and came to see what you're upset about. I really don't appreciate your attitude." She rolled her eyes and stood looking at me with her arms crossed. "I don't appreciate you treating me like this. What is going on here?" She became extremely angry and said, "I'm sick of you and I don't like you. I don't want to live with you anymore." I was stunned. I had no idea where this was coming from. I had been so good to her and tried so hard to make things work. I was angry and triggered and felt like nothing I did was enough. "Fine. If you don't want to live with me, I will see what I can do," I said as I walked away, feeling devastated, confused, bewildered as to where this was all coming from. I began crying. I returned to where Ashlyn's parents were. They could see how upset I was and asked me to wait a minute. Ashlyn's mom went back in and got Leah, and after a few minutes, they came back. Leah turned to me and lifted her face and said, "I can't forgive you for never being there for me growing up." My heart sank. "I'm so sorry, Leah. I can't go back and change things. All I can do is do the best that I can. I have done everything I know how to make things work." "Well, it's not working," she said, and stood staring at me with anger in her eyes. I looked at Ashlyn's parents with tears in my eyes. "Do you mind if she stays here until we figure some things out?" "Of course, that is no problem at all." I turned and walked out to my car, climbed inside, and wailed out in tears. I sobbed over the rejection and pain I felt from Leah, and for her, recognition she must have felt the same pain. Rejection as a little girl because I'd left her. I couldn't have felt more heart wrenching pain if someone were stabbing me in the heart. When I got home and told Tom what had happened, he came and held me and let me sob in his arms. I cried and told him, "She doesn't like me and I can't fix it. I can't change the past. I am so sorry I had to leave her when she was so little." He comforted me and told me, "You really have tried to make things work with her for so many years. I have never seen anyone, Angel, try so hard. Try not to beat yourself up. This hasn't been easy, and she hasn't made it any easier. No matter what you do for her, she treats you terribly. And it's hard for me to watch. I have had to withdraw and let you do things, and it's been awful. No matter what you do, she treats you like shit and verbally abuses you. I don't know what else you could do or what you could have done for her. She just refuses to allow you to get close to her. I know this is hard, but I'm here for you. And I do love her too, very much. But sometimes love is just not enough, Angel. Sometimes it's just not enough. It's just unfair and it hurts so much. I wanted so badly for this to work. I wanted to make it all better. I wanted her to be happy being here with me. But she's so angry and blames me for everything that has gone wrong in her life. She won't even give me a chance. And I can see it is my fault that she has been through so much. I feel so terrible about what she has been through because I wasn't there. I curled up close to Tom and cried out in pain. "I know, honey. I'm so sorry. It hasn't worked out." After a few weeks of staying with her friend, Ashlyn, her dad called and said they were exhausted from the shenanigans that Leah and Ashlyn were creating, and I needed to come pick up my kid. I laughed to myself and thought, yeah, now you know what I have been going through. I went and picked up Leah, but she didn't want to live with us. She treated me terribly, and even though he wasn't there, I felt like I was being abused by Charlie all over again. So we decided to call her social worker and have her placed back in foster care. I failed and lost her again. She was placed with a single lady in town called Ypsilanti, about 20 minutes from where we lived. I asked Tom to be home when they picked her up because I couldn't see her leave again. I tried to contact her many times after she left, but she refused to take my calls and told her social worker she didn't want to see me. I sat down and wrote her a long letter. Dear Leah, I know you don't want to talk to me and have refused contact with me. I'm not even sure you will read this letter, but I am hoping that you will. First, I want you to know I love you so much, and I am sorry for how things have turned out. I never dreamed things would end up like this when you came into our lives or when you came to live with us. I wanted so badly for things to go well. I thought with time and love that things would just work out. I tried to provide and give you everything I thought you wanted and needed. I was naive, blind, and unaware of what was going on or what to expect. I was just so excited to have you back in my life. It was all I ever wanted from the time I left you when you were little. I just wanted so much for us to be close, like we were when you were little and shared in each other's life. I didn't know the first thing about being a mother. I really didn't know what my role was supposed to be when you came back after being gone for 10 years. I just love you so much and wanted the best for you. I believed that somehow along the way, we would just figure it all out. When you came to live with us, it was a hectic time with so much transition going on for all of us. I know we made a ton of mistakes, and I wish I could have seen things more clearly or would have some better training so I could have been more prepared. Instead, I controlled too much and made rules that weren't helpful and made a lot of mistakes. I just thought I was doing what was best for you, what a good, responsible parent would do by setting limits and having expectations. But I know now it wasn't what you needed. To be honest, I had no idea what you needed. I just tried to love you and do the best I knew how. I also heard you when you said you couldn't forgive me for leaving you when you were little. And oh my God, I am so sorry I had to make that decision. There were a lot of things going on back then. I was very young and I had you, and I was catapulted from being a child into adulthood and left home at 14 and moved in with your dad. I really tried hard to make things work with him, but they just didn't. I It was a toxic relationship and we couldn't make it work. I was faced with making a very difficult decision when I was very young and on my own without much support from anyone, not even my parents. And at the time, I thought leaving you with your dad and grandma was the best decision for you, and it broke my heart to leave you. There was never a day I didn't think about you. I missed you so much and wanted so badly to be in your life. But it was impossible to work with your dad or grandma, no matter how hard I tried. I take full responsibility for my decision to leave you, and I am sorry I hurt you, and I am sorry I wasn't there to protect you. I understand if you cannot forgive me. I wanted to at least write this letter and explain these things to you so you know I have always loved you and I will always, no matter what, I will always be here for you should you ever decide to reach out. You are so beautiful and special to me. Words could never express the depths of my love for you. I really hope I hear from you. I love you, Mom. I mailed the letter with love and prayed it would help her understand and perhaps she would contact me. I didn't hear back from her. As time went on, Tom and I decided to move to Virginia to be closer to our investment and start a new life. Then I got a call from Leah. Hello. Hi, Mom. Leah, oh my God, it is so good to hear your voice. I got your letter and I have been wanting to call you for a long time. But Daddy told me if I had anything to do with you, he wouldn't see me anymore. But after reading your letter, I had to call you. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry to hear that. Anger welled up inside of me at Charlie and wondered how long he had been interfering in our relationship and if it had been going on the entire time she lived with me. I brushed that thought away and focused on Leah. She caught me up on how school was going and told me she had met several new friends and had a job working at Wendy's. She told me she liked her foster mom and was doing well with her. It was good to hear her laugh and share with me in such a comfortable way. It gave me hope that things could get better, and I would really love to see Leah. I miss you so much. I will talk to my social worker and see what they say. It was really nice or good talking to you, Mom. You too, Leah. I will look forward to hearing from you again soon. I love you. I love you too, Mom. I hung up the phone and cried tears of joy. I couldn't wait to see Leah. I immediately felt conflicted about the decision to move to Virginia. I talked to Tom and told him about the call and how I was feeling. And we agreed that he would go ahead and move to Virginia and I would stay back for at least 6 months to work on things with Leah and see how things went. The next week after hearing from her, I contacted her caseworker and he informed me that Charlie and Molly were creating issues. He said we had a family meeting after Leah contacted you and she called you. Immediately things became heated and me and Leah's foster mom told them they were not allowed to bully Leah and make her feel bad about having a relationship with you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you standing up for her. Yes, of course. It is wrong for a parent to keep a child from being with or loving the other parent, and we aren't going to stand for it. Thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me. I have never had anyone stand up for me. Hearing this felt so validating. I knew what they were doing was wrong, but I had no way or how to explain it to anyone. There was just no language or words. La- Later, Leah called me and told me about the meeting. Daddy and I had big argument this week, and he told me if I continued to see you, he was going to cut me out of his life. Fuck him. He's an asshole. If he's if he can't be mature enough not to be selfish, forget him. Him and Molly have been trying to call me all week, but I haven't taken their calls. I was surprised about her foul language, but was happy to hear her stand up for herself to them. It was huge for her to have the courage to speak her truth to them, and I was so proud of her. Oh, honey, I am so sorry. I hope they changed their mind. I don't think so, Mom. They were not reasonable at all, and I'm fed up with them. I am sorry, Leah. It's okay, Mom. I can just see things so much clearer now, and I'm sorry that they are not more reasonable. Yeah, me too. I could see that Charlie had poisoned her against me for years, and it was difficult for her to see past the lies he had told her about me. He had so much power over her. I realized being in his neutral environment and not living with either of us gave Leah an opportunity to see things from her own perspective and peek past the veil of his deception. Before hanging up, we made plans to begin seeing each other again and scheduled our first visit for the next week. When I arrived to see her, she was smoking a cigarette and I was surprised but didn't say anything. We sat and talked and she told me how things were going for her. I immediately it was apparent she was a different kid from the one who lived with me. She had matured and shifted a lot over the 4 months since I'd left. She left my house and was much more streetwise. The foster home where she lived was in a rough, rundown neighborhood that was known for regular incidents of crime, but she seemed to have adjusted well in that neighborhood. She told me as soon as she arrived, her foster mother gave her a bus pass and told her she had to get a job and found one at Wendy's at the University of Michigan, 20 minutes away, and took the bus after school and worked in the evenings. Yes, Mom, it's been a big change. I only got to do my laundry every 2 weeks at the laundromat. I am often on my own because my foster mom is gone a lot, but I have been hanging out with the neighborhood, and my foster mom is related to nearly everyone around here, and they look out for me. They keep an eye out on me and protect me, she laughed. She admitted she had started smoking when she lived with me in Saline and started smoking pot with the neighborhood kids in the area. She also told me she hated school and was thinking about dropping out. My heart filled with fear, but I didn't say anything. I just listened. She had been through so much, and I was just happy that she was being open and sharing her life with me. It was the deepest conversation we have ever had, and I was soaking in every second, feeling the joy of connecting with her. Over the next 6 months, Tom moved to Virginia, and I stayed back in Michigan to work on my relationship with Leah. It was such a beautiful time of bonding with her. Being in foster care gave us the space to get to know each other without the burden of having to be in a parent child role, where I was in control of making the rules and telling her what to do. We had space to just share and be with one another. It was a beautiful time. When Tom was in town, he came to visit her, and they began to build a warm and loving relationship as well. After Christmas, we talked with Leah and told her I was going to move to Virginia and we wanted her to come with us. We told her we loved her and would do everything we could to work with her and the social workers to make this happen. She didn't want to move to Virginia right now because she didn't want to leave her friends, but she would think about it. I told her I would come back every month and visit with her and work with her social worker for her to come down to visit us as often as they would allow her to come. I moved with Tom to Virginia and continued to return to Michigan to visit with Leah at least once a month. Eventually, she was permitted to come and visit us in Virginia, even spent several weeks during the summer with us. We grew closer over time, and just after Christmas in 1999, she decided she was ready to move to Virginia. I was so happy and couldn't wait for her to come home again. It took many months to work with the system and to get permission for her to return to us. But finally, the spring of 2000, nearly 2.5 years after going into foster care and near the end of her junior high school, she was placed back into our home. Things seemed to fall into place. She met friends, had a boyfriend, was working at an after school job at the country at in the county as an administrative assistant, and she was doing amazing. During her senior year of high school, we co-signed for her brand new car. She graduated from high school in the spring of 2001 and began taking classes at the community college, and things seemed to be falling into place. Our relationship had bloomed, and we were close, like I had always wanted. Things were going well, but there were still cracks beneath the surface. Chapter 23, that was the end of 22. That was a whole hour of reading. Let's see where we're at with time here. Oh, no, not that. 1 hour. 1 hour of reading. I think I'm going to pause the reading for today. Thank you. End it here. I'm also recording for